I'm going to address something we're frequently being asked at Relationships Australia, and that is, how can I help a friend, a colleague, a family member, or anybody else that we might come in contact with who is distressed about COVID-19 and its impacts upon them? So no doubt many of us will find ourselves in this situation, especially right now. So let's start. Sometimes you'll notice that something is not right with someone, and you might be compelled to ask that person directly what's not right with them, how they're feeling, or what's going on. At other times, you may need to respond to somebody who comes to you and confides in you or tells you about their distress. So what type of help should we give somebody in this situation? Well, it just depends. It depends, of course, on the context, the person, and other factors. But in general, we want to follow the rule of not rescuing somebody, but rather providing helpful support. Rescuing is often seen as being helpful support, but in fact it's not. Rescuing really means that we start doing the work for the person or take action for the person rather than the person doing that themselves. Rescuers often feel responsible for the person, and they do want to take control. In rescuing somebody, we really rob somebody of the opportunity to help solve their own problem. And at the heart of it, people usually do want to solve their own problem. They want to feel as though they're in control of their own lives. So in supporting somebody in a helpful way, we encourage that person to take responsibility and to do as much of the work as they can do themselves. So we might think about what rescuing feels like for us. When we're rescuing somebody, and we often do this with family members and of course our kids, but when we rescue somebody, we're really worrying about them and assuming that we know what they need. We tend to do the greater share of the talking as well. We give longer help than we need to, quite frequently. And then how they respond might affect the way we feel. So we might feel good if they accept our help. We might feel a bit rejected or a bit annoyed if they don't accept our help. So in some way we feel responsible for solving that person's problem. Helping, on the other hand, really means that we trust that person to find their own pathway and solve their own issues in their own time. We support the person to discover what he or she might need. We do the greater share of listening as well, rather than talking. And we're much more non-judging and accepting. So let's just talk about listening skills for a moment, since they are so important. What does a good listener do? Well, first of all, good listening means that we do stop talking. We can remove distractions, such as our phones, or we can close a door or go somewhere private. We can put a speaker at ease by making sure our body language is correct, or at least showing them with our bodies that we are paying attention. We can empathise with somebody, and we'll talk about that a little later. And we can reflect their feelings and what they've just said back, what they've said to us, we can reflect back to them to show them that we've listened. We can summarise and paraphrase to let that person know that we understand what they've said to us. And good listening means that we can be patient and we can be comfortable with the silence. So what might we require of ourselves? When we want to provide supportive help to somebody, we really have to come from the heart, I guess, or use our own resources. We have to bring ourselves to the plate. So there are some things in us that we have to draw on, I guess I'm saying. So the first one is compassion. To be a good supportive helper, it's good to have compassion. And compassion enables us to care. It enables us to feel for the person. We all need to also have a level of self-awareness. We need to understand our own values and our own responses and be aware of that, because when people are in distress and they speak to us, that can rattle us a little bit. So if we're aware of our own emotional responses and can mindfully keep that in check and focus on what the person's saying, that's much more helpful. So our self-awareness is really important. Another important element of really providing good supportive help is the element of detachment. And detachment is that special skill that helps us not take on the person's problem as our own. Empathy. We also need to provide empathy. Empathy helps us understand the person's problem from their perspective rather than our own. And it enables us to respond well to that, respond effectively to them in that way. This is quite a big topic, and it takes lots of knowledge and skill to understand it. I recommend a fantastic free resource that's available on the Relationships Australia WA website, and it's called Connect for Mental Health. It's a short online training, and it will help you understand depression and anxiety more fully, and what to look for if somebody is having a decline in their mental well-being. It provides you with real examples of how to approach somebody who is in distress, or how to respond to somebody who comes to you with their distress. You can use the same tools with somebody who is just stressed or even just having a bad day, because the principles are all the same. It's about knowing what to say and how to say it, and other important things that you need to know. Connect for Mental Health really builds on what I'm talking about here and starting to discuss here. It only takes around 35 minutes, and you can even request a certificate of completion once you've finished it. So for your own benefit and for the benefit of others, you might need to help, especially at this time of COVID-19 worry and stress. I really urge you to jump onto our website and have a look at this. So thanks so much for caring about others and wanting to help during this challenging time. We have provided a link for you to Connect for Mental Health. And lastly, please spread the word to others that this important resource is freely available.